kitchen. Obviously, there's not very much space. It's pretty small. As you can see, you can barely fit in here, barely get in here. Luckily, the dish we're preparing tonight doesn't need a stove, an oven, or a microwave. Instead, we're cooking with this. 1 lime. Well, actually lots of limes. Tonight we will be making ceviche, and you can use limes or any citrus to make your dish. The citrus actually cooks the fish that we're going to be making, so you don't need to use any other tools. We're making a traditional ceviche. The combinations and varieties of ceviche are limitless, and it's up to you to determine the fresh vegetables, herbs, citrus, and fish you want to combine to make your own ceviche. But the traditional form of ceviche includes 5 main components: citrus, salt, onions, herbs, and chilies. Now there's one more very important step before we start making our ceviche. This is very important, so don't forget this step. You're going to need some cerveza. Alright, now we're ready. The key to making a really delicious ceviche is to use the best and freshest ingredients you can find. For the ceviche I'm making today, I will use red and yellow bell peppers, red onion, cilantro, fresh garlic, and jalapenos, with limes for my citrus. I also have some tomato and avocado to add as garnish at the end. I am using 2 sea bass fillets as my protein, but we'll get to the fish a little later. So the first step to make your ceviche is to get some lime juice, or like I said before, you can use any kind of citrus. So the first step is that we need to squeeze it into our little bowl here. Now it's really, really important that you squeeze your own lime juice because it's not going to work as well if you don't do that. So since this can kind of take a while, we're going to bring in my assistant Kirsten to help with the process.
Good evening.
Kirsten? Good evening.
Thank you for having me.
So we're just going to cut the limes in half. A sharp knife is helpful, always, and then you want to hand them over to me. And then you just want to take them and squeeze them in here. Now let me show you something really quick, Kristen. Before you slice them in half, if you want to take them and roll them against the table like this.
Why is that?
This loosens the juices, and that way when we squeeze them, we're gonna get more juice out of our lime. Now once you're done squeezing the lime juice, make sure you save this. We're going to use this later, so don't throw this out. I found some great oranges, so we're going to throw these into the mix also. Same thing, just cut it right in half and squeeze it into the reamer. Now remember, the citrus is what's going to cook your fish, so you have to make sure you have enough to completely submerge the fish. And like I said before, you can use any citrus. We're using mostly lime, and the oranges look really good, so we're going to add some orange in there as well, just for a different flavor. You can use lemon. Some people also add fruit to the citrus to change the flavor. Ooh, pretty.
Agreed.
Okay, so now we don't have too much fish, so this should be good for our marinade. Now we're also going to add our garlic to the marinade. Kirsten, thank you for your help.
Thank you.
I will no longer be needing your assistance.
Thank you.
All right.
Good night.
All right, so we're gonna add some finely minced fresh garlic to our marinade of now lime and orange juice combined. The fresh garlic will just add a little bit more flavor to the fish. The rest of our ingredients, however, we're going to add later because they don't need to be with the fish the whole time it's marinating. Now we're using a sea bass for our fish. And it's important to keep it frozen about an hour to an hour and a half. Buy it the day that you're going to make the ceviche because fresh fish is the most important thing since we're not actually cooking our fish. Now, these are a little bit frozen but not solid all the way through. It just helps it so it's a little firmer to cut it. Make sure you have the sharpest knife you have. And you want to make sure that these chunks are very evenly sized. So you just want to chop them up into chunks. Now, I'm using this sea bass because it's a firmer white fish. You can use any other type of whitefish. You can use tilapia, halibut. There's also shrimp ceviche versions. Alright, so now we have our 3 main ingredients for the starter. We have, this is a non-reactive bowl. It's important to use a non-reactive bowl so that it doesn't mix with the ingredients or change the flavor at all. We're going to take our juice first, and we're going to pour it into the bowl, and we're going to add some garlic. We probably don't need all this garlic since it's fresh garlic. It has a lot of flavor, so we don't want to overpower the fish. We'll add that. So now our marinade's ready for the fish. Now we're going to take it and put it into the marinade. Now this is when the cooking begins. So for our sea bass, it's probably going to take about 30 minutes in the refrigerator. You want to submerge it in the marinade. I'm going to add a healthy amount of salt to it, just for some extra flavor. And then you want to cover it with saran wrap and put it in your refrigerator. For ours, it's probably going to be about 30 minutes. Depends on the type of fish and how much fish you have, and that depends on how long you'll keep it in the fridge. Alright, so our ceviche, our fish is in the refrigerator. It's marinating, cooking right now. So now we're going to chop up all of our fresh vegetables. Now make sure you wash them and prepare them before you start chopping them. But we're going to use a red pepper, a yellow pepper, a red onion, and we're going to use some jalapeno and some cilantro for flavor. Now for the chilies, I'm using a jalapeno. You can use any kind of hot pepper. The most important things, you actually might want to wear gloves when you do this because it can burn your skin for a very long time. Now I am going to use a spoon to get out this stuff because I don't want to touch it. Make sure that you wash your hands really well right afterwards, and you don't use any of the seeds. That's too hot. You don't want to do that. You're going to burn people's mouths. Now, with the jalapenos or any pepper that you choose, these need to be diced up extra fine. You don't want huge chunks of jalapeno. That'll be too much spice in one bite. Alright, so we have almost all of our fresh veggies. We just want to add some fresh cilantro as the final touch for a lot of extra flavor. Now, I'm going to add your chopped cilantro to the top. And you can keep this in just any container. And you might not need to use all of the chopped vegetables that you use. You want to balance it out with how much fish you have and make sure that they are proportionate with each other. Alright, so now it's time to go check on our ceviche. Alright, so our fish isn't quite ready yet, so I put the veggies in the refrigerator next to the fish so they can stay cooled. And so now we just sit and wait. Okay, so our ceviche is almost ready. This has been in the fridge for about 30 minutes and the fish looks like it's pretty much ready. You'll see how it's firmer and it's more white, more opaque. You can't see through it as well. So I'm going to go ahead and add all of this to the marinade. Kind of mix it around. You can use a spoon or your fingers, whatever's easier. Ooh, yum. Alright, so mix it around, mix all the colors. And then we're going to put it back in the refrigerator for another 10 minutes or so, just to let all the different flavors combine. Alright, so now it's almost ready. It's in the last stages. So we're going to get our garnish ready. We're going to chop up a tomato. Now we don't want the seeds. It's a little too watery. We don't need the extra acid for the flavor. So we're going to just get rid of the seeds. Now we're going to add some avocado. This you can actually add at the very, very end so it stays nice and green. I like to keep it in the outer skin so that you can chop it and then just let it fall right in. Alright, and we don't add these until the very, very end because the avocado will get too mushy, and the same for the tomato. So we'll add that just at the very end for extra flavor and a little bit of extra color too. Okay, so we have all of our finishing touches here. I got some chips for dipping. Now remember the limes that you used earlier? We're gonna use these as little mini bowls to keep the ceviche in. I put them on ice, so it's perfect for a party or any kind of gathering. And you can just put them all in here and then put servings of ceviche inside of them. All right, so now our ceviche is finally done. We're gonna pull it out. We have a little bit too much lime juice in here, so we're going to take this and drain some of the excess lime juice. If you leave it in too much lime juice, it'll get a little bitter tasting. We don't want that. Hey Kirsten, it's ready. Come on in and try it.
Wow, this looks great.
Here, try some. Good chip. This is how you have to do it. Yeah, grab a little hors d'oeuvre.
This is like the cutest thing ever.
Here, I'll make you the perfect chip.
Perfect chop.
Here, try this. Is it good?
Yeah,
It's pretty simple.
outstanding. Outrageous.
All right, so it wasn't so difficult. We have it all done now, so enjoy.